Caitlyn Clark in her decision, I not only respect it, but I wholeheartedly support it. You know, a lot of people say that Caitlyn Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle.
The WNBA's worst nightmare just became real, and they have no one to blame but themselves. Right now, as you watch this, another league is gearing up to drop an offer on Caitlyn Clark that the WNBA could never touch. An offer so massive, so historic, that if she accepts, the league as we know it might not survive past 2026. The number being whispered? $150 million. But this goes way beyond a paycheck. This is about respect. This is about payback. And this is what happens when a billion-dollar industry takes its biggest star for granted. The WNBA thought Caitlyn Clark belonged to them. They were dead wrong. So let's look at the numbers, because numbers don't lie. Her WNBA rookie salary, $76,800. That's what the league claimed she was worth, yet everyone knew the truth. She was the one dragging in millions upon millions of dollars all by herself. Ticket sales didn't just rise, they exploded. TV ratings didn't just improve, they doubled, even tripled the second she stepped on the court. Merchandise vanished like wildfire. And while she packed arenas like a megastar, she was paid like a substitute teacher. But the real twist? The treatment she faced bordered on criminal. Fans watched the cheap shots, the vicious fouls that mysteriously never drew a whistle. We saw refs go silent as veteran players hunted her, night after night. And when she finally dared to speak up, the league office responded with nothing but dead air. The jealousy was undeniable. The resentment was thick enough to taste. Instead of defending the very player carrying their league, the WNBA let the chaos take over. They stood by while their golden goose was getting beaten to pieces for pennies on the dollar. Just let that sink in. The one player capable of dragging the league out of irrelevance was treated like background noise, like she should feel lucky just to show up. That's not running a business. That's steering it straight into a wall. Then came Unrivaled, or as fans whisper, Project B, the WNBA's worst nightmare. This isn't some weekend experiment. It's a league built by two giants of the game, Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, players who survived the WNBA grind, saw every crack in the system, and decided they were done waiting for someone else to fix it. What makes Unrivaled different is simple but seismic. They're not dangling small raises. They're offering equity, ownership, an actual stake in the league. When Unrivaled wins, the players win. When the league profits, the players profit. It's a complete rewrite of how athletes should be treated, not as workers but as partners. Base salaries? We're talking multiple six figures, maybe 7 for the elite. Compare that to the WNBA's roughly $200,000 max, and it's not even in the same universe. But the real headline is what they're putting on the table for Caitlyn Clark. This isn't just a contract, it's a power play. Word is she's being offered equity worth tens of millions, marketing control, profit sharing, and the promise of being the league's centerpiece. Everything the WNBA should have given her from day one, but never did. This is the LIV golf moment for women's basketball. Think back to when LIV came out of nowhere, tossing $100 million checks at PGA stars. Remember how everyone swore the PGA was untouchable? That loyalty meant everything. That tradition would protect them? And then Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and Brooks Koepka took the bags and didn't look back. The same storm is forming here. Only this time, the WNBA has far less power than the PGA ever did. Unrivaled isn't just stepping into the arena. They're offering dignity. They're offering a new era. They're offering Caitlyn Clark exactly what she's earned. And the WNBA? They're scrambling, panicking, finally realizing they dropped the ball so catastrophically that the whole league might slip through their fingers. So here's the billion-dollar question. What does Caitlyn Clark do now? On one side, there's loyalty. The WNBA drafted her, showcased her, gave her a stage. Some will swear she owes them, that she should stick around and rebuild the league from the inside. But let's be honest, loyalty cuts both ways, and the WNBA showed her exactly where she stood when they let her get battered for $76,000, while cashing in millions off her name. Caitlyn isn't boxed in. She's sitting on golf invites, endorsement deals that outpay an entire WNBA season in a single campaign, business ventures, media doors wide open, even coaching opportunities if she ever wanted them. Basketball is just one lane, and honestly, it might not even be the most profitable anymore. But picture this, she signs the Unrivaled deal. Imagine that timeline. The 2026 WNBA season tips off, without Caitlyn Clark. Immediately, the TV networks start clawing back their contracts. They didn't cut those checks for Angel Reese or Aya Wilson. Let's be real, they paid for Caitlyn. Ticket sales nosedive overnight. Arenas slip right back into half-empty silence. Merchandise numbers collapse. Sponsors bail because the one player who actually moved the needle has left the building. And here's where it hits hardest. Nike, the brand that built entire campaigns around her image, suddenly shifts its budgets elsewhere. State Farm, who made her the centerpiece, starts scouting other sports. Gatorade, Xfinity, all those companies that only jumped into the WNBA because of her gravitational pull. They're rethinking everything. Why would they pay top-tier ad rates when the ratings are about to fall straight off a cliff? And it doesn't stop with the big national names. Local sponsors, the ones who bought courtside seats, arena banners, glass-level signage just because fans clamored to see Caitlyn gone. Season ticket holders demand refunds. Corporate suites that were impossible to book for fever games suddenly sit wide open. The financial shockwave is enormous. And the media ecosystem? Devastated. ESPN paid big for WNBA broadcast rights, banking on the rise she sparked. Without Caitlyn, those projections implode. Games get pushed to ESPN2, then ESPNU, then buried on streaming. Those primetime windows? They vanish like she never existed. The production budgets get gutted. Suddenly, broadcasts are back to two shaky cameras and commentary that sounds like it was phoned in from someone's basement. The league scrambles to shift the spotlight, hyping new narratives, new stars. But here's the cold truth. Casual fans don't care. Die-hard hoops fans will stick around, sure. But the millions who tuned in only for Caitlyn Clark? They vanish instantly. And once you lose casual viewers, you almost never win them back. Meanwhile, Unrivaled is detonating in real time. Their venues sell out within hours of announcing a schedule. They land primetime TV deals because networks can feel the electricity. They're building cutting-edge facilities because the money is pouring in. And major brands? They're lined up around the block, desperate to partner. Because Caitlyn Clark isn't just part of their league, she is the league's engine. And the growth curve is impossible to ignore. But here's where things turn downright dangerous for the WNBA. Other players start eyeing the money, the respect, the equity, everything they were never offered. And they begin asking themselves the same question Caitlyn did. Why am I staying loyal to a league that doesn't value me? Angel Reese, with her massive fanbase, gets that call from Unrivaled. They put equity on the table, a marquee role, full marketing control. She looks at her WNBA paycheck and realizes she's being squeezed the exact same way Caitlyn was. Then comes Paige Buchers, the next generational star. She watches all of this unfold from college, sees who's thriving and who's struggling. When her turn comes, Unrivaled hands her a deal that sets her up for life before she ever plays a single pro minute. The WNBA counters with $76,000 and a wishful maybe for endorsements someday. Which offer do you think she takes? The talent drain becomes a stampede. And it's not just the superstars. Role players start comparing Unrivaled's minimum salaries, which are higher than WNBA max contracts, and they pack their bags, too. Why stay with the Sparks when you can earn triple the money and stake ownership in a league skyrocketing in value? Within 2 years, maybe even sooner, the WNBA slides right back to what it was before Caitlyn saved it. A niche league watched only by diehards while the rest of the country shrugs. Attendance falls back to 4,000 a game, and the national spotlight goes dark. TV ratings implode. Franchises bleed money. Teams start folding, some relocating, as the entire league infrastructure teeters on collapse. Meanwhile, Unrivaled ascends, staking its claim as the premier women's basketball league on the planet. International stars begin bypassing the WNBA entirely, choosing Unrivaled instead. Media attention pivots. Young girls growing up idolizing basketball now see Unrivaled as the ultimate goal, the dream destination, not the WNBA. The power balance flips completely, and it all traces back to one brutal truth. The WNBA was too blind, too arrogant, and too cheap to recognize their superstar for what she was. The league had the roadmap to domination literally handed to them, and they watched it burn. That's not speculation. That's just basic business. You protect your assets. You invest in your stars. You don't nickel and dime the very player carrying your entire league on her back. The WNBA failed business 101. And now the reckoning is coming. Here's what keeps executives awake at night. They know Caitlyn doesn't need them. They need her. They had the shot. They could have paid her what she was worth. They could have protected her on the court. They could have built the entire league around her, made her the face of women's basketball for a decade. Instead, they handed her rookie minimum and let jealous veterans throw cheap shots while refs looked the other way. Now someone else is offering her everything. Ownership, millions, respect. Everything the WNBA should have given her from the start. And honestly, she'd be 100% justified in taking it. Why would she sacrifice millions for a league that treated her like trash? The WNBA had the Michael Jordan of women's basketball land in their lap, and they fumbled it so badly that another league is ready to snatch her away. This is what happens when you take your stars for granted. The true cost of disrespect. Now the league's future is literally in Caitlyn Clark's hands, and after the way they treated her, they'd better hope she's more loyal than they ever were. So what's your take? Should Caitlyn take the money and walk? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more deep dives into the business moves that reshape sports forever. The WNBA's reckoning has arrived, and they have no one to blame but themselves.